You're watching Netrush Report, the channel where tennis legends are not just remembered, they're analyzed, that we bring you the rivalries, the rankings, the triumphs, and the tension.so. If you love the game, subscribe now and turn on notifications, because what we uncover next might just change the way you see the sport forever. The year was 2004. By now, Venus and Serena Williams had become household names. Between them, they had already won multiple Grand Slam titles and had shaken up women's tennis with their power, their athleticism, and their sheer star power. But 2004 was different. For the first time in years, neither Venus nor Serena made it to a Grand Slam final, let alone win one. Their dominance was suddenly under threat. Both had slipped out of the WTA top 5. And the gap left by the Williams sisters? It was quickly filled by a new wave of Russian talent. Players like Maria Sharapova, Anastasia Moskina, and Svetlana Kuznetsova. While fans and analysts debated whether injuries, motivation, or off-court ventures were to blame, one man had a radically different theory. Mike Agassi. Mike Agassi wasn't just any tennis parent. He was the father of Andre Agassi, an 8-time Grand Slam champion and one of the biggest names in the history of the sport. Mike had a reputation for being outspoken, strict, and deeply opinionated about training and discipline. And in 2004, he went public with what he believed was a major issue in the Williams camp. According to Mike, the sisters were ruining their game by practicing against male players in an interview with Tennis Week, he made his position clear. They think they're doing the right thing by practicing with men, but it's damaging their confidence and their rhythm. These men are hitting too hard. They're too strong. It's not helping Venus and Serena. It's hurting them. He directed his comments at their father, Richard Williams, a man who, like Mike himself, had trained his daughters from a young age to become champions. Mike warned that unless they changed their training style, the Williams sisters would continue to lose ground to their rivals. His advice? Stop practicing with men. Train against women instead. Especially top-tier women who could mirror the type of opponents they'd face in real matches. Let's pause here. Because Mike Agassi's critique wasn't just about hitting partners. It was a statement about tennis philosophy. Mike believed that Venus and Serena had built their game on power. But in practice, he argued that power was being neutralized by hitting with stronger men. Their natural dominance, especially on serve, was being chipped away, and that created a psychological problem. According to Mike, Serena and Venus were losing confidence. You don't want your players walking into a tournament already feeling second best, he said. But here's where it gets interesting. Richard Williams didn't exactly seem worried. In fact, he had his own reasons for having his daughters practice with men. Richard Williams, always enigmatic and fiercely protective of his daughters, didn't issue a public rebuttal to Mike Agassi's comments. But his actions spoke volumes. For Richard, the decision to have Serena and Venus train with men wasn't about ego, it was strategy. He wanted them to never feel intimidated. He wanted them to feel pressure in practice. So tournament play would feel easy by comparison. It was mental warfare, that he believed that training with stronger, faster, and more powerful players, typically men, would sharpen their reflexes, timing, and toughness. Richard also felt that pushing the limits in practice was essential to staying ahead of the competition. After all, how could you fear Sharapova or Moskina if you'd been slugging it out with 6 feet 2 inches college guys? But was this approach hurting their technical game? That's where Rick Matchie comes in. Rick Matchie is a name that needs no introduction in tennis circles, that he coached both Venus and Serena as children. He saw their rise from prodigies to professionals. And over the years, he's offered candid insights into what made them tick. According to Matchie, Serena Williams always wanted to practice with men. From the very beginning. In practice, all Serena wanted to do was play guys, Matchie once said. She wasn't intimidated by anyone. She beat guys who were older than her, bigger than her. And she loved it. This wasn't just about power. It was about fearlessness. Matchie said Serena didn't just want to win. She wanted to prove herself against anyone, regardless of gender. That attitude, he believed, made her who she was. And if you're wondering just how competitive she was even as a child, wait till you hear this. Serena once played Andy Roddick in a match when they were 10 years old. Let that sink in. And what was the score? Yes, seriously. Roddick has joked about it ever since, recalling how Serena handed him a beating that bruised more than just his ego. Of course, as they grew older and Roddick matured physically, he'd eventually dominate her in later practice sets. But that early match left a permanent mark on both players. Serena was simply built different, and that mentality, to take on anyone, anywhere, regardless of reputation or gender, was core to her identity. So, was Mike Agassi wrong? Mike Agassi may have believed that practicing with men was hurting Venus and Serena's serve and rhythm. But the results tell a more complex story. Sure, 2004 was a dip. Injuries and outside distractions were real. And yes, new players like Sharapova had cracked the code for a while. But Serena and Venus didn't disappear. They came roaring back. Serena would go on to win an astonishing 23 Grand Slam singles titles. Venus would reach multiple Slam finals and win several more doubles titles alongside her sister. Clearly, whatever temporary issues they faced didn't destroy their dominance. If anything, the adversity made them sharper. But there's one more layer to this saga. Let's weigh both sides. Men play faster and harder. Practicing with them ruins rhythm, hurts serve timing, damages confidence when constantly getting overpowered. Better to hit with women who replicate WTA match conditions. Practicing with men builds strength and resilience, pushes the player to operate at a higher gear, eliminates fear and complacency, makes real matches feel easier by comparison. Who was right? In a way, both were. Mike Agassi was right that rhythm and timing matter. Venus and Serena did face occasional issues with consistency and unforced errors, especially when returning from injuries or long breaks. But Richard and Serena were right too, about grit, pressure, a psychological warfare. Their approach wasn't just about tennis. It was about mental dominance, and you can't argue with the results. In the end, whether Mike Agassi was right or wrong doesn't even matter. Because Venus and Serena Williams didn't just succeed, they redefined the sport. They proved that a new model could work. They shattered old assumptions about training, power, femininity, and the limits of women's sports. Didn't just win matches, they changed tennis. And the very debate Mike Agassi started, it only underlines how extraordinary they were. When your greatness challenges traditional logic, you're doing something right. So, what do you think? Was Mike Agassi right to criticize Venus and Serena's training methods? Or did Serena's fearlessness and Richard's faith in male sparring partners lay the foundation for one of the greatest tennis careers in history? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because here at NetRush Report, we're not just serving up stories. We're uncovering the truth behind the legends. Until next time, stay sharp, stay passionate, and keep your eyes on the baseline.